right. Hey, welcome to Live Jazz KC presents Swapping Fours podcast. Now, Swapping Fours, had a different name the other day, but today, now we are called Swapping Fours after some much maligned name change pressure. But nonetheless, we're here again, and we're here with a wonderful addition to the Kansas City scene in the last umpteen years now. I'm not sure how many, but Mr. John Stafford from Kansas City, Kansas Community College. John, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Good, man. So how many years have you been there now?
I'm going into year 13.
13. I knew it was over 10, but I wasn't sure if it quite 15. So
hmm
13 years at Kansas. How's it been for you in the first dozen years?
Well, it's been getting better all the time.
I
So
would
it's been changing and getting better all the time, and yeah, it's just a great job, great situation.
well we're super glad to have you at the college here. We spoke to Jim Mayer last week, or I spoke to Jim Mayer last week, and he had nothing but high praises for you. And I think that
Likewise.
goes without saying that
Yeah.
it wouldn't be the same without you. But so a little bit about you, John. I know your official title at the college is what exactly? I don't want to mess that up.
Well, I am the choral director. I'm the director of choral activities at the college. I'm an associate professor now, and I co-chair the department with Jim Mayer.
Yeah. So you're running the show. You guys got your finger on the pulse of what's going on and have been leading that ship down
Mhm,
its path for years so far, and it's been
mhm.
nothing but good things. So
Thank you.
a dozen years ago, or coming up on 13 years, you came here from where? Where'd you come from?
Well, I came from Illinois. I'm originally from the Champaign-Urbana area in Illinois, and from a small town called Danville. And um, I did two of the three colleges I studied at were in Central Illinois. Actually, I did my bachelor work at Millikan University in music business. I did my master's at Bowling Green State University in Ohio, and studied classical composition out there. And I some conducting as well. And then I did doctoral work at the University of Illinois Champaign-Urbana. I did a lot of my doctoral classes there and studied choral conducting. And so I came from finishing my last doctoral class to getting this community college job. And while I was doing my doctorate, I was also I spent 6 years as an adjunct. I did doctoral work half at that time, and I spent 6 years as an adjunct at my alma mater, Millikan University, teaching theory composition. And I also taught the second vocal jazz ensemble for a few years. So that's kind of how I got this job. I was already studying choral conducting. I had experience with a jazz choir. And so the KCKCC was looking for somebody that could do both, a choral director that could teach jazz. And so I was just lucky enough to win the job. And there you have it. I'm here.
Well, I would say that maybe we're luckier than you in some respects in that regard. But um, now, with your background in vocal, music, conducting, performance, and composition, like say classical composition, um, how much? At what point did vocal jazz become a big part of your educational experience? Not even from a teaching standpoint, but was that something you were involved in in your education as a
Um, I,
student?
I didn't even know about vocal jazz until I was a freshman in college. Really, it was really just a few months before I went to college. Um, Actually, just a few months before I went into college, maybe the spring semester, my senior year of high school, I really started. That's when I really started to listen to jazz, and I was interested in it. I didn't really know much about it. I was just interested in it. I really got to listening to jazz by listening to Duke Ellington, and then I went on a big Miles Davis kick, during that time. When I got to college, college had a vocal jazz program, and then and so I started to listen to a lot of New York voices at that time, Manhattan Transfer, and then also that year at my college, the Real Group from Sweden came to my college and performed. So I saw them as I was an 18-year-old freshman, seeing the Real Group in the front row live. So that really got me into it as well. And so during that first year of college, I got into a lot of vocal harmony groups, like the Real Group, the New York Voices, Manhattan Transfer, and Take Six. Those were four of the groups that were, and also like a contemporary a cappella group, Rockapella. So those are some of the groups I really got into in terms of vocal harmony, and I've just been listening to that stuff ever since. It's just what I that's regularly on the playlist. I just love all types of vocal harmony groups just in general. And I
Right.
lean towards more of the groups that have more dissonant harmonic content. So there you have it. So I just kind of fell in love with it after a while. I always kind of went back to that.
Well, I won't say how old you are, but I know you're basically my age. And
I'm 40 something. I don't know how old you are.
I
I'm 40
40,
something.
40,
Yeah, 40 something. Yeah, right.
but I know
Yeah,
we're the same time frame. But I remember early on in college years being introduced to groups like Take Six
right.
and immediately going, man, I wish I knew how to sing.
Right.
And
Right.
not just because what they were capable of doing from a harmonic standpoint was just mind blowing to me in the individual, you know, ability to just create those dense, like you say, dense and dissonant harmonies and
Right.
stay so tight. And stylistically, we're so clean. And then naturally, I wasn't around as much of the vocal jazz ensemble stuff, but being at Kansas Community College back in the late '90s, it was starting to become a part of what they did
Right.
regularly.
Mhm.
With Dale Shelton was there, and there
Mhm.
were some good things happening, and you could tell that they were certainly on the road to achieving greater things.
Mhm.
And so you came to Kansas City. I'm just going to fast forward. I mean, I'm assuming, and I'll backtrack just for a second, that you'd always been in vocal performance. I'm assuming you were a choir kid in high school.
Right.
And did you grow up like singing in the church, then into high school? How did that become a thing for you?
Well, I've been singing since I was 4.
Yeah.
So, singing at church with my mother, and then I just been in choir throughout all of grade school. And I actually couldn't read music for a long time. I couldn't read music till I was 17 years old. And so I was like around summer of my senior year, that's when I really started to learn how to read music. I was just interested in it. I just sung for fun.
Right.
And around that same time too, around that fall, my senior year of high school, I studied music theory. And so it was a advanced course, which means everybody in the class was like a straight A type student. I wasn't, but other people in the class were. And we went pretty quickly through theory. We covered content really from theory. If you could compare it to college classes where college students take music theory in a 4 semester sequence, the freshman and sophomore years, I did all of that in 1 year in high school.
Mm.
So I literally did everything from like Baroque part writing, the traditional Baroque part writing, and all the way through like 12 tone before I graduated. And so I discovered in high school that I was, even though I wasn't an instrumentalist and I was just learning how to read music, I was pretty good at reading music. I learned stuff quickly, and so I was pretty good at theory. And I discovered that, and I just kind of that helped me a lot. It helps me to this day because I'm not an instrumentalist at all. I mean, I can get around on a piano, but I'm not a performer. And so but I see stuff in this because of my theory knowledge. I see stuff in a score pretty quickly, and that's very helpful.
I
And
can't
then
imagine. Yeah.
yeah, and then so yeah, that's how it just kind of started. I did it for fun, and then like I had a couple really good teachers in high school that really kind of steered me into what I'm doing now. And it just kind of evolved. It's just interesting how life happens like that. So
It seems to be a common theme, what you just said about having that early influence teacher at the high school, middle school, high school level, and having
mm,
the opportunity to be in a high level uh, performing arts type program at no matter what high school you were at. I know where I was at, we had great performing arts, and we also
mhm,
we're lucky enough to have a pretty intense theory course available that was year long
right,
for upperclassmen. that was taught by an orchestra teacher. And it really seemed to pay dividends for the folks that were studying music at the next level when it came
Right.
for AP advancements or advanced placements for collegiate theory semesters and testing out and kind of getting a head start on a lot of that stuff. And just having that influence musically to push you a little
Mhm.
further. I know for myself, it was invaluable just in creating a level of accountability and drive in all the musicians and made everyone better as a group too.
Right. Right. I mean, yes, I would. I started. I only had to do 3 semesters of theory. I transferred out of the first semester, and so it just helped a ton. I felt like I had a huge head start going into college just because I had a certain amount of knowledge, and I
Yeah.
was already listening to a certain amount of music as well. And then the other thing that helped me too, at that age, I felt like I was behind, but I knew it. By senior year, I knew I wanted to major in music, so I just really listened to a ton of music, jazz, classical. I mean, I just listened. I was always in the library getting tapes. Back then, it was like tapes and
Yeah.
vinyl and CDs. And I was
Right.
checking stuff out all the time, and I was like,
I
I was
found
really working. Yeah.
I found a couple old CDs here at my house a while back that I checked out from the library at KCKCC like 22
Uh
years ago. I was like, oh man, they probably want this Art Blakey CD back.
huh.
But
Man, nobody knows, man. Nobody
and
knows.
it was one that I got because it specifically had Bobby Watson on it. And I was like, I'm gonna take this home and copy it. And I just more or less just copped it. And I still have it to this day. I don't even know if they have CDs in that library anymore. I think they're all over in Jim's office.
Yeah. That's
But
awesome.
uh, so you got to Kansas City, and were you familiar with Kansas City at any level, like musically or professionally? Had you spent any time here prior to coming here to interview or to work?
Um, no. Um, I've heard of Kansas City, and I've heard good things and I've heard bad things about the city. Um, but it's like that in any city of this size too. You know, you hear the good with the bad. But and I knew about Kansas City jazz. I knew it. I knew a little bit about it, and because the reason I knew about it a little bit because I knew about the book that was written by Chuck Haddock and Frank Diggs before I even applied to that job. It was about just Casey Jazz, and that came out. I think it came out in the '90s, maybe, or early 2000s. I don't remember exactly, um, but other than that, though, I didn't not know too much about Kansas City. And oh, the other thing I did know about Kansas City though was I knew of UMKC. Um, when I was younger, like in the early 2000s, I was really into composition, and so UMKC was a big composition place at that time. And this was even before Chin Yu started to work at UMKC. So I knew of Kansas City of those things, but I never thought I'd work in Kansas City. I never thought I would even work at a community college. This was not the type of job I was looking for when I was going to grad school and studying to become a professor. I was looking for like a small school, like I went to undergrad, small liberal arts school, um, like a 4-year school. I was looking for something like that. But this job just opened up, and at the time, I was a poor grad student at the time. I was single, and it was just a fresh slate. And when I got the job, it was a no brainer to take the job, and it was just a fresh slate for me. And at that time, I needed a fresh slate because I just been working a lot and not making a ton of money. I was just trying to get by, and I was in grad school, and it was just like it was time to do something different. So I am thankful for the opportunity.
Yeah. And so you get here and you show up to your first semester of teaching at KCK, and what were your thoughts? I mean, in terms of your, if you had to say you had a 10-year, did you have a 10-year plan? Did you have goals set for yourself at that point? Did you take an inventory of where you were? What was your initial assessment of what you had to do, what you had going on, and maybe how that aligned with what your goals were professionally for,
Uh-huh.
for the school?
I had a 5-year plan. The boss at the time, she wanted to, she talked to me about it's the only full time job I've had. I've taught at three other colleges, but they were all adjunct positions. And then two 4-year schools and one other community college. And so this is the first full time college job I had, and the first and only one. And so I developed a 5-year plan of things that I was interested in doing. The only part that was negative about the job was that it wasn't really negative. It was just a situation. I replaced Dale Shetler, who's wonderful, by the way. I have nothing but high regards for Dale because Dale helped me with the transition. Dale was there for over 20 years, and then he just retired and he moved to the West Coast to be with his family. And but I talked to Dale throughout that whole summer after I got the job. We talked that whole summer. Dale left documents for me about all kind of stuff to help me get started, which I highly appreciate. Nobody knows this, but so I just kind of wanted to put it out there. For example, as a choir director, you deal with outfits. So he was like, "This is the dry cleaner I use. These are the churches in the area where we do choral performances." Like it was just all this information to help me get started, and it was incredibly helpful. So I didn't start 100% from scratch, you
Yeah.
know. So that was awesome of Dale, and so I have always appreciated that.
I can
Uh,
I can speak that certainly Dale was the consummate networker, much like Marlon Cooper was within the
right,
community. And I'm
right,
sure if he helped plug you in, you were on a good foot to start with. No doubt about
right.
that.
Oh, he was just very helpful, and it wasn't really. I mean, he plugged me in with some people too, but it was just the logistical stuff that was really helpful. So I didn't have to waste time. I just kind of had a list of knowing who to contact, so that was great. The only thing negative I probably had to say about first starting off, was since Dale retired, Dale was so popular, he also had um, his students. A lot of students graduated, and it's just normal transitional things where, somebody new comes in. Some people want to go with the old person or leave with the old person. So I didn't have a ton of singers when I first started out, and nobody knew who I was, and I was new to town and nobody knew, and I wasn't a big name. I was just fresh out of grad school. So and I was young too. I was 32 at the time. So anyway, so because of all those reasons, it took a while to get things going. It took years to kind of get it to where I wanted it, but it's okay too. I had good students starting right off the bat. I had good students. I had I had good colleagues. Some of them are still there, like Mike Nay and Jim Mayer. But I had a great accompanist. Her name is Joyce Stevie. Joyce Stevie. I had a good voice faculty. There's a good instrumental faculty there. So there was things in place. And then also what in terms of the 5-year goal, I'm kind of jumping around here, but in terms of the 5-year goal, one of the things that makes the place intriguing that I found out early on was that there was room for opportunity to really build, and which was awesome. And that was an intriguing part of the job. I was told in my interview, I asked the question, how much artistic freedom do I have? And they said I could do whatever I want. I was told, I asked about budgeting, and they said, yes, I would have a good budget, which I do. And then, so I'm fortunate enough to, take kids to see really, to have really great musical experiences. And then also, Dale and Marlon put this scholarship in place where we can offer kids full tuition just to be in an ensemble, just to take applied lessons on their primary instrument. And then they only have to have a certain GPA, which is not even that, which is not even, I don't think it's a difficult GPA to maintain. And it's this nice talent award that they created. And because of that award, we're able to get students to come to our school. And then now, students come to our school for a multitude of reasons. They come for it because of the scholarship, but they also come because we're now building a reputation of some musical excellence. So which is really nice to be known for. And yeah, so there's a lot of things that were in place that you could see growth, and I knew as long as I stuck it out that I had the opportunity to help grow the department. I mean, nobody does it by themselves. It takes a village to make this work. So, but yes, because I saw that growth early on, and so that's the most intriguing part, um, early on, as to see that growth. And at the same time too, we have a variety of students, and so the students make the job interesting and rewarding, and yeah, so it's a good place to be.
For sure. And speaking to that excellence that you built, um, it was, you know, basically said to me that by Jen that you've been the impetus in so much of what's happening from a notoriety standpoint for the school, and being involved with some of the downbeat submissions and the student
Right.
awards and the student
Hmm.
compositions and solos and ensemble awards that you've received, and it's been dozens of them over the years.
Hmm.
um, and not the least of which has been your vocal jazz ensemble group, the Standard, there at the school, who has what, 2 or 3 album releases at this point, for sure.
Uh, right now we have 2 albums and one release single. We just mixed. We're almost done mixing. We finished most of the mix for a third album, hopefully to
Nice.
come out in the spring sometime. And
And
yeah.
for anybody who's listening to this and isn't familiar with the vocal jazz ensemble at Kansas Community College, the group, the Standard, is your top performing vocal jazz ensemble.
Right.
And I can't imagine. I mean, there's certainly, without question, incredible vocalists, great musicians. The 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 band sounds like professionals, and I think that's certainly how you present material and how you teach them. And the product is as top notch as you're going to find. But
Thank you.
how do you find? And we'll get to playing some of that here in a second. But I want to ask, because being that it's a 2-year school, by nature of the fact that it's a community college, how do you handle the turnover, the quick turnover? When at a 4-year school or graduate or university, you might have people there that are there for 4, 6, 7 years, long term studying, doing graduate degrees all the way through. Whereas here you have people that are turning over every couple 3 years sometimes,
Yeah.
and you're basically starting over
Hmm.
every fall. And I'm not sure if that's the case, but I'm just saying it would seem to me that would be a natural obstacle that you have to deal with, trying to restock that group with just as
Right.
fantastic as musicians as you had the year before.
Yeah, it's you get used to it.
I'm
So
sure.
yeah, you get used to it. But I don't know, I've just been fortunate, man. And there's a few things to answer that question. The first thing is that um I have 2 comments about that. The first thing is that Kansas City is full of great high school choirs. And it's not just like 1 or 2 choirs in the city that are exceptional. There are a lot of above average or excellent high school choirs in Kansas City, both within some of the rural parts of the city and some within some of the more urban parts of the city. That's one thing. And so the second thing is that the key to keeping it going every year is, since there's so many good high school choral singers, a little side note, there's only about maybe 4 high schools in the area in all the metro, but in both Missouri and Kansas, there's only like 4 high schools that do vocal jazz. There's 2 in Kansas that I know of, and then there's 2 in the Northland that I know of in Missouri. And I know of 1 or 2 middle schools that do vocal jazz. So there's not a lot of vocal jazz at the high school level. When Kansas City is known for jazz, it's known for instrumental jazz actually. And there's a lot of good professional singers, vocalists, things of that nature. But at the high school level, you just don't have it, and you really don't have it at the collegiate level either. So the key to making this go, and the reason why I'm saying all of this is that, based on how I teach things, I'm just looking for good high school singers that just have. I'm looking for somebody with a good singer they have to have a really good ear. So even sometimes I'll have singers that don't necessarily have the best sight reading ability, but they have big ears. Like they can hear harmony within a chord, especially like the alto tenor bass, because they sing all the 3/7 voicing. But and then also you just need people with like good ears and good character. That's what I'm looking for. Of course you want like certain voices in the ensemble and everything, but you're just looking for good kids with good ears. And the character thing is important too when you recruit. If you recruit just based off of talent, then you run into and don't worry about the character as much, then you run into possibly having problems with people connecting within your program, and it's harder to make the music work when you get into a situation that could be possibly toxic. And so I try to recruit kids that, even though I'll probably give them a scholarship, I want them, they at least are invested in the program. They want to be there, and then they just have a good overall character, and they are talented as well. And so that's how that really works for instrumental and vocal too, just this whole character thing. And so that's why we have this family environment at the school, where in terms of the music faculty, we all get along. The kids get along for the most part. Every now and then there's a tiff here and there, but there's no major toxic environment that's happening. It's a family environment. And so the kids watch out for each other. They make their best friends there. Heck, several people in my choir have gotten married now. So, and so, it's a good situation. So that's how you keep it going. It's just recruiting. There's so many good choral singers in the area, and a lot of them don't have jazz experience. But if they have the potential to expand their ears, then you could teach them that stuff. You can't teach somebody to really have a good ear naturally, but if they already have the good ear naturally, you can expand their harmonic knowledge. And
Yeah.
so that's the big thing where I was getting at. But it was important I said all that other stuff with that, so to answer the question. So that's how just keep it going. Yeah.
Well, and you said a lot when you spoke about family, and certainly I think there's a big aspect of that, especially at that school. I mean, you get a lot of people generationally have gone through there for many generations of their family, many siblings. I know my parents met there at that school in the music department.
Yeah.
I may or may not have been conceived at the apartments across the street, but I don't know for sure.
Right.
But yeah, yet coming up, I always felt like I had a home there, and I had a connection there with Marlon Cooper. But like some of the other kids have gone through, like the Reyes brothers. Well, their dad was there, and I mean, there's a lot of kids who've been there who have generational history there as well within the school at some level. And I'm assuming that when you go out and you're taking the choir out, I say taking them out, but you're getting them in front of some of the high school kids so they can see what the experience might be like, or kind of introduce them to what you're doing to spark that interest. So they go, hey, whoa, this is kind of cool. I want to be a part of this. And I'm sure there's naturally a good number of kids that maybe don't have that experience, but hear you and go, yeah, I'm digging it. I want to be in that group. And so that, I'm sure that helps too,
Right. We're the only school. There's not really another school like us in both Kansas or Missouri. I mean, there's a lot of schools that have good jazz programs. There's several in both states, but we're the only school in both Kansas and Missouri that is really leaning more towards the commercial music jazz focus for most of the program. So to give you an example, the program currently has 9 music ensembles. Only one of them is classical. That's my concert choir. We offer concert choir. We offer 3 vocal jazz ensembles. 2 are student, and last year I started a community vocal jazz ensemble. It used to be a community choir, but with COVID, it was hard for some people to come back, so we turned it into a jazz group actually. And so with some of the alumni actually come back and sing it. And then So that's what we have vocally. Also vocally, we have one group that's instrumental and vocal. We have a funk band. So giving props to my colleague Justin Bennick. We have a great funk band. They're actually performing at two conferences this year, one
Oh,
national and one state conference. So um, yeah, so they're an awesome group. And then Jim directs four ensembles as well. He directs the big band and he has three combos. And so anyway, so and we're doing program of this type of focus. What makes us especially unique is Dr. Ian Corbett's audio engineering program. He runs both music tech and audio engineering degree programs. So, and he has the most students of all of us. He always has somewhere, it could be anywhere between 60 and 90 students in that program at any given time. So, he has a slew of students that go through that program. And a lot of those students end up playing in the music ensembles as well and take lessons through the music department. And and then also one thing that I'm interested in doing is that we're the only, like I said before, we're the only program in both Missouri and Kansas like this, and I'm really interested in keep going with this jazz commercial music focus of the program. And this is going to be a few years away. I'm guessing 3 or 4 years away, maybe, depending on protocol. But I'm interested in creating a music business major at the college. And then that's a goal that I have. And I've worked on it somewhat, but like COVID kind of derailed that for a while. And
sure.
then, but that's something that the work has started on that, but it has to go through college, the college hierarchy. And then, but that's something I like to do. Because there's not a music business major at any college in Kansas or Missouri that I know of. And so, and I think in Kansas City, with such a vibrant music scene, just in general, not only in jazz, but in classical world as well, there's just a great music scene here. And it'd be great to have a major like that. And we're right in the center of it all. So
Perfect. I want to take a second and play a tune off of your standard vocal jazz ensemble release. Take a couple minutes, tell us about the tune, the album, and then we'll get right to playing it here.
Yes. So this album was created actually during COVID. This is our second album entitled Coal and Diamonds. Coal and Diamonds, you're not going to hear that track during this podcast, but Coal and Diamonds was a tune written by Justin Bennick, an original composition. And so that's the title track of the album. This group this was my standard, this was from 2019, 2020. And so the group was cut short because of COVID in that spring. And so the kids left the college right before spring break, and literally we text throughout that time, but we are all in quarantine, and we came back to the college in June to record this album. They didn't sing together for 3 months, and so they all came back to the school in June, and we recorded this album. We did not record in mass, but we spread the mics out. They literally sung in four singers at a time. We spread out in the studio. There was enough room in the studio so we could be over 6 feet apart. We cleaned the microphones. They wore masks the whole time. They only took the mask off to record their part, and we put them in little cubicles, so to separate them, to make sure they couldn't see each other or be around each other or to spread anything. And so we took a lot of safety precautions with this, but the kids came back and they recorded this album, and we came out with it. It was a little bit over a year later we came out with it, but the album came out in October of 21, even though it was recorded in June of 20. And so right now I'm on this kick where like our albums are recorded one time, but it takes like over a year to get it done. So
Right.
yeah. And like this new album we have, Rain, it was recorded in 2021, but we just started mixing it in 2022. So anyway, the track you're going to hear, it's an arrangement of a Drake and Rihanna collaboration called Too Good. And it's arranged by Amanda Taylor, who sings in LA with the Grammy nominated group Sage. It's a Grammy-nominated group of 4 ladies, 4 professional singers and arrangers, jazz singers and arrangers in the LA area. They are fantastic. Look up Sage, Saye. They're fantastic. Amanda sings lead soprano with them. She also has a publishing company. She's a fantastic writer. She has a publishing company called Wicked Pigeon. And so if you Google Wicked Pigeon, you can hear her demos. And this tune is just a great, and it's a tough arrangement. It's like 5-part harmony sometimes. And yeah, you can take a listen. I hope you enjoy.
Yeah, sure. So here we go. I'm going to play this. This is Too Good from the album Coal and Diamonds from the Standard Vocal Jazz Ensemble. So enjoy.
Seems like they're just happier than us these days. These days, I don't know how to talk to you. I don't know how to be there when you need me. It feels like the only time you see me is when you turn your head to the side and look at me differently. And last night, I think I lost my patience. Last night, I got crazy expectations. Last night, I came to a realization, and I hope you can take it. Hope you can take it. Oh, I'm too good to you. I'm way too good to you. You take my love for granted. I just don't understand it. No, I'm too good to you. I'm way too good to you. You take my love for granted. I just don't understand it. More than it seems, sacrificing things and
Yeah, man. I, I muted you, so you may want to unmute yourself. But um, wonderful, man. It sounded
Thanks.
great. Who was on that recording on in the instrumental side?
Oh yeah, thanks for asking. Like I said, man, it takes a village to build whatever you try to build, you know. So on piano was Justin Binnick. I'm gonna give a shout out to all these guys, and then so those people listening to the podcast, Justin Binnick's a wonderful jazz vocalist and pianist, and so he's on our faculty at the college, and he sometimes plays for my group. So he played piano for the whole recording. This whole album in particular was Justin Binnick on piano, Robert Castillo on bass. It was a pro. This particular year, I had a pro rhythm section. The last couple years, I've been using a student rhythm section, so that changes sometimes, just depending on like people's availability, things of that nature. But this particular recording was Justin on piano, Robert Castillo on bass. Check out Robert, not only his bass playing, but also he's an artist as well. And so check out his art throughout the whole city. And then on drums was Joe Straws.
Yeah.
Hey Joe, yeah. So check out DJ Joe. Look him up online. Joe's busy all throughout the city doing all types of DJing slash audio work. So, but Joe's also an excellent drummer. So, yeah. So that was my rhythm section for this.
Killing.
And,
Yeah, it was a
Yeah,
real nice rhythm section, man. Really
yeah,
put
yeah,
an exclamation point on that vocal
yeah.
team, man. No
It was
doubt.
awesome. Yeah. And then thank you. And then yeah, they did a great job, and they're just great guys to work with, you know. And then also I wanted to give a shout out to my other colleague Ian Corbett. Ian Corbett mixed and mastered that album. So
Yeah.
so Ian's exceptional.
And Ian's a bad dude on the saxophone too.
Right.
If you don't know, now
Absolutely.
you know.
Right, right. So like these four guys helped out a ton, and I had some student engineers as well that are all great. And then, but Ian was the mixing and mastering person. So, yeah. So anyway, yeah, like I said, it takes a village, man. So
Now, to the vocal jazz ensemble moving forward, I know a big part of what you do every year, and I've worked on a couple projects regarding this, but you're set this year, this fall, to do it again, is the m-pact Vocal Jazz Festival.
right,
And it's always a big event for the school, big event for the groups that are involved, the others, from all over the country, as I understand. I mean, there's local groups that come, and there's groups from all over the country that perform live or virtually, and are clinicked by the m-pact Vocal Jazz Ensemble. Talk a little bit about that, how that started, and what your plans are for this year.
I actually don't remember how it started, but I'll try.
Fair enough.
I just been a fan of m-pact. It's a 6-man group. They sing. They have it's 6 men, but it's literally range wise. It's soprano, alto, tenor, baritone, bass, and the 6th guy is a vocal percussionist. And so it's this a cappella pop jazz fusion group out of LA. When they started, they've been around for about 25, 26 years now. They started in Seattle, but they moved to LA. And so they've been a pro group for a while, and they've gone through a variety of members. They must have had over 20 members in that 25-year span. And so, and a lot of guys that sing in that group, they either work for Disney, or they do studio singing, or they got degrees in jazz, or also, yeah, like some of them are like producers, audio engineers. So anyway, so they do a variety of things in LA. So anyway, so I developed a relationship with m-pact, the vocal percussionist. His name is Jeff Smith. He's the main director of the group. And Jeff is actually a KU. He's a KU grad. He's from Lawrence. And then he went to Lawrence High School. So he has Kansas City ties. And Jeff and I connected a few years ago, and I had this idea about a few years ago before COVID. I think with some of the pro vocal groups around the country and even in the world, they started, there's like either high schools or colleges started to hire pro groups and have a festival named after the group. So like the New York Voices, there's a high school in Chicago. that had the New York Voices Jazz Festival. So they would hire the New York Voices for a day. They would clinic participating groups, and then the New York Voices would give a concert to end the festival in the evening. And so I was following that model, and there's several both colleges and high schools around the country that did that with different professional groups. So that's where I got the idea from. And then I started to develop this relationship with m-pact. The first real relationship with m-pact was in like 2015. That was the one time the Standard performed at the Blue Room, and we opened for m-pact at the Blue Room. They were coming through Kansas City, and it was a different lineup at that time than what they have now. And so we opened for m-pact at the Blue Room, and then a few years later, m-pact, maybe 3 years later, maybe years. Let's see, that was around 2015, so maybe around either 2017 or 18. m-pact was traveling through, and they just gave a master class for our students. Again, they were just traveling through the KC area, and then they didn't perform with that. We didn't perform with them, but they were just traveling through to another location. And then I think it was around that time, Jeff and I started talking about like doing a collaboration together, making their own festival. And the festival started in 2019, the year COVID happened. So in 2019 was the first annual m-pact Vocal Festival. m-pact Vocal Festival, what it's meant for is to be any vocal group, including large choir, a madrigal ensemble, a barbershop group, a vocal jazz group, a contemporary a cappella group. It doesn't matter. Any vocal ensemble can come participate at the festival at a low cost. It only costs $215 to be a part of the festival. It's a 2-day festival where, let's see, you perform at the festival, say like you perform 3 or 4 numbers at the festival, you get a lot of stage time, and then 2 of the 6 m-pact members come up on stage and clinic you. It's a similar model to Jazz Summit, where they come up on stage and clinic you, but there's also 2 other m-pact members taking written notes. So you get written notes from 4 of the members at m-pact. The other 2 are on break, they're on a rotation. So 4 of the members you get written comments from, 2 of them you get verbal comments from, and they work with the groups, and directors that have come seem to enjoy it. So the first year we did it live, we had a group from Chicago, a group from St. Louis, one from Oklahoma City. We had several local groups. There was a group from Nebraska that came, and yeah, so we had probably 5 or 6 states represented in that festival that first year. So it was a huge success. And then the second year in 2020, we did it virtually, and where we had groups from really all over. We really had groups we had a group from London, we had several groups from California, we had a group from New Hampshire. I mean, we really just had groups everywhere when we did the virtual festival. And so the virtual festival was a 2-day thing, and we had a full schedule of those 2 days. So m-pact, we had it set up in our media services department. Shout out to Randy Royer, who did the technical side of that festival. Let's see, they did that. We scheduled it virtually. m-pact gave a live virtual clinic to the recordings that were submitted by those ensembles. And then, so that was really dope. And then 2020, we did it live again, but we only did it for 1 day. I mean, last year, the 2021, it was a shorter version of the festival. It was only 1 day because we just didn't have enough groups show up. And last year too, a lot of high schools in the area there were still COVID restrictions last year. And so people weren't allowed to travel, some groups. And so that was part of the issue there. And we're hoping to have enough participation to fill up 2 days worth this year. We're working on it right now. I'm advertising right now for it. And we're hoping to have some participation this year. So thank you for letting me talk about the festival.
Yeah,
it's a great experience. Just real quick, one more thing about the festival this year. It's 2 days. It's on a Wednesday, Thursday this year instead of Thursday, Friday. It's the week before Thanksgiving. And then the other thing about the festival is that is really important is that on the first night, that Wednesday, m-pact is doing a free free open sound check. So anybody can join and check out their sound check. And then on the second day of the festival is when they do a festival. And then we're going to have one of our student groups perform for them. We haven't decided, we haven't talked about which one. It could be Justin's Funk Band, it could be my standard, who knows. But we're going to have one of our student groups open up for them at our concert this year. So that's coming up November 16th and 17th.
Nice. Well, congrats on that. I know that, just the conversations we've had getting things up and running, just trying to help get that promoted. And I see some of the registrations as they come through.
Mhm.
But it certainly seems to gain some steam as it gets closer and closer, and there's certainly an appetite for it. So
I
yeah,
hope
if you check this out, if you're listening to this before it happens in November of 2022, go to the website. The website we have set up for that is m-pact Vocal Festival, right?
correct.
It's m-pact vocalfestival.com.
Mhm.
And you can check out what a little bit about that festival he has going on, and a little bit about the band. And if you want to register your group, or somebody who might be interested, send them that direction. It'd be a great experience for students and professionals alike. I know there's some professional groups that have actually performed it. You may have mentioned that.
Right.
And locally. But yeah, so right on. And I don't want to take up a bunch of your time here tonight, but I did want to touch on those few things, and kind of just more than anything, tell us a little about you outside of the music world. I'm interested to know a little bit about John Stafford, the guy, and I have a couple specific things I'm going to ask you about, but I'll let you kind of start that conversation. I know you're married, you have a beautiful child, you have one kid, right? You have one,
Right.
and
Right.
beautiful child. And yeah, tell me about you.
Yes. I mean, myself, just a family guy, I work a lot and I'm home a lot. And the things that I just love live music in general. It doesn't have to be vocal jazz, I just a big fan of live music.
Well, I saw
Um,
you at the Snarky Puppy concert, so I know you dig
yeah,
live music.
that was killer.
Oh,
That was so killer.
dude,
Yeah,
I
we could
was
talk about that all day. That's a whole nother podcast. It was
man.
so
I
yeah.
was sitting in the front row with my
Oh, that's awesome.
elbows on the stage, just mouth agape the entire time.
Oh, that's awesome. So yeah, it was great. I loved it. And then so went to that. And then let's see. So I'm a big fan of live music. I mean, I like to cook. Both my wife and I, we like to cook. I especially like to grill. A year ago, bought a new house, bought a smoker, and so I've been teaching myself how to barbecue.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, so let's talk about that.
Yeah.
I love barbecuing.
So yeah, man, I have to get you something. I have to make you something sometime.
Oh,
So
likewise,
yeah,
we'll trade
yeah, man.
dishes.
Yeah, man.
Now
And so
when you're working that smoker, now you don't you have a pellet smoker? Is that what you're using?
I
Or
have a
using?
pellet. So I have a
Yeah,
pellet. I need the I mean I would love to do a more traditional smoker, but it's just because of time, man. I mean, I don't have time to babysit it like that.
yeah. Well, and you
So
do, like I have a really nice pellet smoker I use, and it's fantastic.
uh,
But
right.
last year I bought a very lightly used wood burning smoker from a guy over there by the college, and I'm telling you what, it just changed my entire perspective on how that stuff should be done. But what's your favorite thing to put on the smoker, man? What do you, if you're gonna go make something to eat, what are you gonna put on there?
The one thing that I'm really good at, I've gotten pretty good at, I think, are making ribs.
Ribs.
I gotten pretty good at making ribs. I found a way that I do it like a 3-1-2 method, but I'm still experimenting with flavors, but I found most of the main flavors that I had doing ribs. I know I can do ribs consistently. And so, but I've also made a good brisket before. I've also made a good pork shoulder before. But pork shoulder, I've actually messed up before because I made dumb mistakes. And then,
If you ain't messed up something, a little bit of everything, you haven't tried enough. I know I regularly mess something up, and something turns out great.
right.
This is
So,
not a paid endorsement, but I will say, if anybody's listening, interested in doing some barbecue and some smoking, they're up in Kearney, Missouri, there's a company called Oak Ridge Barbecue. It makes some of the finest rubs that I've ever
really?
tried. Oak Ridge Barbecue, and they're out of Kearney. You can order them on Amazon or whatever. It's not a paid endorsement, just saying their Black Ops brisket rub is unbeatable. You can't buy anything better. I can't say you really make anything better. It's fantastic. I pretty much use their products on everything, and
Okay.
they're all
So
pretty versatile.
I'm typing this down.
Yeah, no,
Ridge and Carney.
Oak Ridge Barbecue. Yeah, man, it's worth a trip. They got it all. But Yeah, just the other day, man, I hadn't done it a while. I went and bought some quartered chicken legs, the
Oh,
thigh
really?
leg, and I smoked some quartered chicken legs, and man, they turned out fantastic. And I've told
Yeah.
myself that was lately, that's probably my favorite thing was just doing those chicken legs. They turned out so good, and they
Mhm,
were easy to manage, and they were done. I did them on the stick burner with wood,
mhm,
and alongside, I also did a pork roast at the same time.
mhm.
But yeah, the chicken was amazing. So
That's
I'm looking
awesome.
forward to a good, we still got some good barbecue weather left through football season. So I'm gonna get it out, and I'll come bring you some next time I throw something together.
Yeah, I need to do that too, man. And then also too, I've been experimenting with wings lately. The last time I smoked some. I found a good way to make wings.
Oh,
Smoke
nice.
wings for an hour and then put them in an air fryer. And
Oh,
then that way, because you get the smoke ring on the meat, but then you have crispy skin.
I dig it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then like I did what I did last time. I probably won't do it again because it's so time consuming. I stuffed wings, so I literally cut into every raw wing and stuffed it, and then put some. You can put any type of stuffing in it, and then I actually stuffed collard greens in it, and
See,
then
there you go. Yeah.
yeah. So
Now
I've
you
been
got my attention.
experimenting. Yeah, I've been yeah. So but that took so long because I had to make the green dish and then I had to do the wings. Yeah, it took like hours. And then so I don't know if I'll do that again, but yeah, it's great, man. I just have a Traeger with Wi-Fi capability so I could change the temp at
Hey,
the house. Yeah.
my dad just did the same thing this year, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Man, I love this thing." I'm like, "I know," and I mean, he's super proud of it. He's been going at it hardcore and learning
Right.
how to use it. But I tell you, nothing better. If you're Kansas City, you don't know how to make good slab of ribs. It's sort of a rite of passage almost when you get here,
Right.
some level.
I'm getting there. I'm getting pretty consistent at it. I didn't finalize the rub, so I'm gonna try the rubs you talk about because
Yeah,
I've been
they're
making my own rubs, and then and I haven't finalized the rub yet. But
shout out to one of KCKCC's finest alum who also is a hog farmer.
Mhm.
Jonathan Kimmerer has
Oh, okay. Oh
uh,
yeah. I know Jonathan. Yeah,
yeah,
right.
he's got Oddbird Farm up there in Farley, Missouri. He's a
Mm-hmm.
pork farm, and
Mm-hmm.
I the best pork I've ever gotten was from him. So get a
Oh,
hold of
okay. Like
John. Yeah,
yeah, that's awesome. Does he do grass feeding?
yeah. I mean, he does.
Grass
His
fed?
is all grass fed. I'm sure he grains them to some degree, but it's really it's a heritage breed pig that they use. It's not your standard breed pig that you might find at the farmland or whatever, but it's a heritage breed pork, and it's just got a really nice like red meat. I mean, it's really dark pink. It's not that clear, translucent white almost
Right.
pork meat.
Right.
It's a really nice, rich meat, and it's great. It smokes out great. So if you get an old Odd Bird Farm up there in Farley,
Uh-huh.
get with him, ask him for some ribs or a pork shoulder, and it'll be the best stuff you make on your grill all year long.
Wow, that's crazy. I'll talk to them next time he come plays in Jim's big band.
Yeah,
So,
definitely stop him and be like, "Yo, I'll need to come up there and grab some meat."
right. Right. I'm telling you, man, like a farmer that plays jazz, that's just dope.
Yeah,
So,
man, and he
yeah.
raises these pig. Man, they've got a great website. If you look up Oddbird Farmer, you'll see it there too.
Right there. Let me write
But
that down.
so last thing I'll ask you, but
Yeah.
on the same barbecue tip, where's your go-to barbecue in Kansas City? Someone comes in from out of town, you got family coming in from Illinois, and they want to eat Kansas City barbecue. Where are you taking them?
Depends what they want.
Let's just say we want barbecue. Where are we going?
Um, let's see. First of all, I'm gonna piss people off because
You always do.
everybody in Kansas City is so sensitive to who has the best barbecue.
Oh, I know.
So, and
It's a
then,
loaded question.
yeah, I'm a fan of a few places. I have three right now. And it depends kind of what you get at each place, you know.
Naturally,
Yeah.
I feel the same
Right.
way.
Right. Um, Gates Barbecue is one.
Naturally.
Gates just because of the sauce. The sauce is the most unique sauce in the city, and then their original sauce.
Yeah.
with the black label. Yeah, that sauce is great. And so, but that's the reason I picked Gates on there.
Their burn in on bun sandwich is the best barbecue sandwich I've ever tasted.
Really? I haven't had
Period.
that sandwich, so I need to try that. So
It's great.
okay.
It really is.
Awesome. Awesome. And then the next one is I do like Joe's. I've
Yeah.
had most of the time I've had great food from Joe's, and then there's been a couple times I had not so great food from them. Joe's, I feel like, for example, like during COVID, we did curbside or whatever, and like um and it just wasn't as good, or I don't know if it was old or wasn't as good, or it just sat too long after they made it. And so I had a couple times where it wasn't as good. But if you go there, wait in line and eat right there, Joe's is fantastic. And I've taken multiple jazz groups to Joe's to eat. I bought New York Voices are idols of mine, and I bought the New York Voices a barbecue lunch, and they adored me after that.
I
And
bet they did.
so, yeah, it was, and then and I've taken m-pact there before as well, and then so people from out of town, they love that stuff, man. And so I mean, I highly recommend Joe's. It's overall excellent.
Let me tell you, if you're a fan of ribs, I'll put my 2 cents in. If you got people coming in KCK for anything, right downtown Kansas City, Kansas, Slaps barbecues,
Yes,
ribs.
yeah, that was my other one.
Man,
So yeah, that's my other one. Yep,
they put it together over there, man, and
Yeah.
I will stand by that statement.
I actually took m-pact there last fall. That
Yeah.
was because right now I am on a slaps kick. There are places I think slaps. The only negative thing about slaps is I'm not the biggest fan of their sauce, but in terms of the quality of meat, it's very good. They have good sides. I really like slaps. That's kind of my go-to right now of taking people out somewhere.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Barbecue joint like that. There was a conference a few years ago here in Kansas City, a choral director conference, and I'm a member of it now. I'm like the National Repertoire and Resources Chair for American Choral Directors Association. So I work for ACDA now, and I've been a member of ACDA for a long time. It's the major choral organization nationally, and so they do a major conference every other year. In 2019, it was in Kansas City, and so it was funny that a lot of those people, not a lot, but I've known several of those people. They went to Q39 and loved it. And so I've only been to Q39 once, so I can't really talk about it. It's been so long, but I've heard great things about Q39. Even though it's fine dining and the portions aren't as big, the quality is really high. That's why I hear about it. And so, but for barbecue too, though, just my personality, if I want barbecue, I want rustic stuff,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of guys talk about Jack Stack, which I love, but I say, what's fancy barbecue? It tastes great. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But
Same thing. Yeah.
I want to go get my fingers dirty and not feel bad about it.
Right. And it's just kind of, so there's that fine dining barbecue, but man, I want some like real rustic stuff. And one of the joint that I want to give a shout out to, I like them. I don't know if it's my favorite, but I do like them and I want to support them as LCs by the state. Yeah. So
we just lost LC last year before.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So and so I go there every blue moon. I'll go there and I just want to show support because that's an important Kansas City institution as well. So.
And if you're out in the south side of town over there on 435 and Row, there's a little place over there called Brobeck's. And,
I haven't been there, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, Brobeck's is good, but their food's very good. But I go there specifically for the smoked ham salad, and it's phenomenal. So you get they give you some with crackers. You can get a ham salad sandwiches to go on white bread. It's fantastic. It's really good. Wow. Yeah.
You just brought me on to talk about barbecue. You didn't want to really talk about music at all.
It's easy for me to talk about. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, well, I won't keep any more about that. But hey, last thing, and then we're gonna go out and we'll play some more music and we'll be done. But what are you listening to? You got anything new you've listened to? Any new records that hit your ear? That it doesn't have to be jazz, but any good music that you've been hip to lately that you want to let me know about?
I've just been on a big neo soul kick. That's just kind of stuff I like.
Yeah.
I I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it changes all the time. Like the last couple years, especially, been on a big neo soul kick. I've been a big fan of like both Hiatus Coyote and Moonchild, and
Uh,
then I love those groups. Listen to some Thundercat. Even though I missed the Thundercat concert 2 nights ago.
2 nights ago, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but man, it was the first night. It was the first day back at work, and yeah, I needed to be home. So you can't go to everything, unfortunately. But like, especially Hiatus Coyote and Moonchild, I'm big fans of them. Um, I don't know. I'm just a fan of all kind of music. I love Jacob Collier. I love that stuff. Um, but I'm also a big fan of like classical music as well. One of my favorite choral composers that I listen to off and on is an English composer, Paul Mueller. He just writes just really lovely sacred classical music that is harmonically uh, rich and intriguing. So that's some of the stuff I listen to, and then I have like my all-time favorites. I'm a huge Prince fan.
Dig it.
Um, yeah, the Prince Purple Rain album is the only album where I wore out the cassette, then I bought the CD, and then I wore out the CD.
I don't
So
know how that's possible.
yeah. I put so many. I mean, there's so many scratches in that CD, man. Well, because I listened to it so many times, and then anyway, so that's just some of the stuff I like, and and then when I was growing up too, just real fast, when I was growing up, I mean, I'm a big fan of '90s hip hop too. So like, I'm a big Tribe Called Quest fan. I'm a
Yeah.
big Outkast fan. So I love them, and
I
then
was I was telling
yeah.
people I remember seeing the Roots in Lawrence in like the late 90s
Oh yeah, I love them too. Yeah, they're great. So that's awesome. So
at the Granada Theater.
oh man, I would love that. I would have joined you. So, yeah. So I mean, there's just so much good stuff to listen to. So, and then one other thing too, just a little side note too, going back to m-pact. Herschel McWilliams created the m-pact Vocal Festival website. So I want to give a shout out to that. Thank you for
Oh
helping
man,
me
my
out with that.
pleasure. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you.
Well, I love what you're doing. I'm glad you came out here to talk to me today, and certainly we'll get back and do this again sometime. And
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm my whole goal with the Swap and Force podcast is really just have a conversation, no real plan, just kind of just get to know guys and
Hmm.
what you're about, what you got going on, and how you're affecting the scene. And let me tell you, there's not very many people in Kansas City that have a big footprint on the overall broad spectrum that you do, and that school specifically, because the things that they're turning out are amazing. I'm proud to have been a part of that at one point, and happy to help promote more of what you're doing. And
Well, thank you.
so yeah, thanks for what you're doing and keeping the tradition strong, man, because without that, Kansas City, without the tradition we have and the tradition we continue to build on, our scene would kind of be fledgling in some ways and might, run the risk of really being depleted. And it's not. We're rich in talent, we're rich in music, we're rich in history, and
Right.
and if we continue to build it up and promote it from the ground level, like you're doing with the students coming through and preparing them for professional careers in music at any level, it's only going to prove to make the scene stronger as a whole, jazz or music, any kind of music really. And so I commend you on all the work you've done with that, and it certainly doesn't go unappreciated by myself or anyone else that I'm aware of. But yeah, so anyway, guys, this has been Dr. John Stafford from Kansas Community College. I am Herschel McWilliams. This is Live Jazz KC and the Swapping Force podcast. I'm going to take us back out with a little bit more of that record that you had earlier, and we'll just talk soon, my man.
All right, cool. Herschel,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Yeah,
So,
likewise. Talk to you soon.
all right, take care.
Bye-bye.
I don't know how to talk to you. I don't know how to ask you if you're okay. My friends always feel the need to tell me Seems like they're just happier than us these days. These days, I don't know how to talk to you. I don't know how to be there when you need me. It feels like the only time you see